Welcome to the YRX Weekly Crypto Podcast, where we dive into engaging conversations with experts, thought leaders, and innovators. And I'm your host, Lianna. I'm happy to introduce our guest for today's episode, Kay Shidlo, who is the CMO at Fiat24, a Swiss-based fintech company. Welcome, Kay.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, and today we will investigate the phenomenon of meme coins, shedding light into the hype that have captured the attention of investors worldwide. But before we proceed, Kay, could you tell us a little bit more about your professional background?
Yeah, sure. So my background is actually in advertising in the Web2 sector, and I spent the first few years directly out of college working at ad agencies and on campaigns for supermarkets and banks and fashion brands and so on. And actually, the more I worked, the more I realized I was interested in social media as a tool for storytelling and brand building. And so I got a diploma in digital marketing so that I could pursue this path. And as I started to look around for a new position, I saw that Fiat24 was hiring their first marketing manager. I started reading about DeFi and blockchain, and I really got hooked quite immediately, like it really captivated me. I got offered the position and the rest is history. So now 2 years later, I'm still there with Fiat24, leading all of their marketing activities. And finally, I think what Fiat24 does have some overlaps with what YRX does, which is quite interesting. The similarity is that we also offer a debit card for spending crypto easily, but there are some other differences between us. But yeah, that's my quick intro. So thanks a lot for inviting me, and I'm really excited to talk to you today about meme coins.
Yeah, so what exactly are meme coins, and how do they differ from traditional cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, so meme coins are also a type of digital currency, but the main difference is that they gain popularity primarily through internet memes and social media, and they tend to sway more that way rather than traditional avenues like the technical innovation utility or adoption that we see in, I would say, traditional cryptocurrencies. And another big difference is the coins tend to have humorous origins. Their value is really driven by internet culture and a lot by community sentiment. So even though they are typically created as a joke or a parody, I think, and they don't necessarily have a specific use case or utility besides being a meme, I think we can see that, we'll talk about this later, but there has been a recent explosion of them. But I would say the main ways that they do differ with traditional cryptocurrencies is that we often see that they are developed with specific use cases in mind, such as DeFi or smart contract or cross-border payments. And another way that they differ is that many meme coins have these really quite short lifespans. And even though there may be a hype around them, they can also very quickly just lose value or fade into obscurity once that hype dies down. Whereas traditional cryptocurrencies, like the ones that have strong communities and active development teams, and even real-world use cases, those ones, they do have longevity and sustainability in the market. And one last difference that I would like to highlight is that meme coins are often really viewed as high-risk investments or just, a form of some kind of entertainment. But I think while traditional cryptocurrencies can also be volatile, I think their value is more driven by factors such as adoption and utility and market demand, in addition to the speculation that we see. So I think while some meme coins may achieve significant market capitalization, during the periods when they have their hype, I think long-term, the sustainability of them is quite questionable.
Wow. I mean, I'm learning so much about meme coins at the moment. What do you think sparked the recent explosion of meme coins such as Dogecoin and Shiba Inu?
Well, I think, as we all know, one of probably the most well-known reasons is the endorsement from celebrities and influencers, which I think is important to talk about. Maybe we'll touch on it later. But I think they've had a really significant impact on the popularity and price of these coins, especially when you see high-profile endorsements by people like Elon Musk or Mark Cuban. They've drawn a lot of even mainstream attention to Dogecoin or Shiba Inu, which is quite interesting that they're bringing people who otherwise may not have really known much about crypto to the space. Beyond the celebrities, I would say that the typical kind of crypto social media platforms like Reddit and Twitter and TikTok, I think they've also been quite significant because you see that people are talking about it and they're really amplifying the popularity of meme coins. And perhaps finally, the most important way I would say is through the people. So all of these active and passionate communities that actually they become like the main, like the voice of these meme coins, because they contribute to their promotion, their adoption. The communities really play a crucial role in like spreading awareness. And it's also all tied to these high levels of speculation and FOMO, or fear of missing out, So I think as more investors pile into these coins, they are driven by FOMO, the prices can skyrocket even further. So I think it's a combination of several things, several factors, but definitely the celebrity endorsements and like the communities that are created around them are just wild.
Yeah, so how do you think like meme coins impact the overall perception of cryptocurrencies among the general public? Is it for better or for worse?
I think that from what I've seen in my time in the crypto space, which is just over a couple of years now, I think it can have both positive and negative impacts on the overall perception. So if we look at the plus side, I think considering the virality of meme coins, like with the memes and the social media presence, on one hand, it's good because they have helped introduce cryptocurrencies to a wider audience that probably before they were unaware of it or maybe hesitant to engage with digital assets. Also, on a plus side, I think even though we do see that they are originating from jokes or parodies, perhaps they can also serve as some kind of experimental platform, like to test new ideas and concepts, so that's also good. And also some meme coins have introduced some cool features or like governance mechanisms that could inspire innovation for more serious or traditional cryptocurrencies. I think on the downside, this hype that we see can attract some bad actors, which is just common in the space in general, but we do see it around meme coins, which can, exploit investors through these scams. And also I think the proliferation of meme coins can also contribute to this spread of misinformation and maybe lead to some confusion and ultimately distrust, which is all the things that we would really like to avoid in this space. And it's always the same with us, in this industry, when there's negative headlines and then the regulators crack down on meme coins, for example. In general, I think it's quite negative because it can really tarnish the reputation of, the broader industry and what we're really trying to do. So I think, that there are both positive and negatives, but in general, personally speaking, I'm not super in favor of meme coins, to be honest.
And what role do you think social media platforms like Reddit and Twitter play in fueling the hype around meme coins?
Well, as someone who uses both Reddit and Twitter on a daily basis, I think that both of these platforms specifically that you mentioned are just amazing as serving as catalysts for fueling this hype even more. I see, for example, Reddit and Twitter are both very community engagement discussion oriented, and I think they really help meme coins by facilitating like this kind of engagement, and even by people sharing like real-time updates, and there's the possibility for viral marketing to happen there. I think both of those platforms in general are great for crypto in general, just for, for people. There are like a lot of really great communities there with also like thousands of people where they gather and they discuss topics of mutual interest. And with meme coin communities, it's just no different, I think there are like specific subreddits or Twitter hashtags for them. There are so many memes and news and trading strategies related to the coin. So in general, I think it's really great. I mean, I think they are very essential, I would say.
Yeah, because I do see it on my timeline, there's a lot going on about meme coins, and I wanted to talk about celebrity influence, which you kind of touched upon earlier. So Elon Musk's support for Dogecoin has, raised questions about the role of celebrity influence, right, in the meme coin markets. How do you view this phenomenon?
Well, personally, I'm quite against celebrity endorsements across several sectors, but I think when it comes to crypto, I feel that it would be quite important to kind of try to limit these activities. So I don't know if you saw recently, but that famous soccer player Cristiano Ronaldo got in trouble. I think it was for promoting Binance. And then not so long ago, it was also Kim Kardashian and Matt Damon, who also faced some kind of backlash or maybe even legal issues for advertising various crypto-related companies. And I mean, in my opinion, like, I have worked in advertising for like over 10 years now, and I think it is dangerous somewhat, because we do know that especially young people can really easily be influenced by celebrities. But when it comes to financial services and products, like, I think we should be very careful how we communicate and advertise these things, because the risks are quite high. Like, people can even lose their life savings. And if you are in crypto, you will know that it's not like as simple as buying a pair of shoes. So it can be challenging in the beginning till you learn how to set up your wallet, how to secure it, So I personally don't think that it's a good thing to have celebrities kind of targeting younger audiences, because in the end, that's who kind of uses TikTok, right? So with great power comes great responsibility, right? And what's your stance on the debate between meme coins being just a passing, fad versus a lasting force in the crypto space? Yeah, I mean, personally, I think they will be kind of cyclical fads and not necessarily a lasting force, as in not the type of asset which will really bring crypto forward or advance us or bring us to the mainstream or make even long-lasting impacts. But I think ultimately whether they remain like a passing fad or a lasting force, I think will depend on a lot of factors. And as always, when talking about crypto, one of those factors is about the regulation and what happens there, and technological advancements, and also how the internet culture will shift. So I think they could fade into obscurity over time, but perhaps there is a chance that if they do evolve and adapt to remain relevant, there is a chance that they could, remain in the landscape of the cryptocurrency industry at large. But, I think really kind of depends, because as I said, like, the regulatory crackdowns or even interventions could really undermine the viability of meme coins and contribute to their decline over time. So it's hard to say which way it will go.
So, and have you ever found yourself caught up in the hype of meme coin?
I have not, actually. But, looking back, like, I do wish I would have been one of those clever people who would have gotten into Pepe early.
Oh, yeah.
By April of last, April of last year, it was already like skyrocketing. If you were just clever enough or risk-taking enough, you could have made had enough money to buy like a nice car by now. But personally, I don't invest in altcoins or meme coins. I prefer to invest in cryptocurrencies that I believe have powerful technologies behind them, which have real utility, which have power. Like, of course, Bitcoin, like everyone holds some Bitcoin, and Ethereum and Solana and Arbitrum, like, coins or tokens that you can see that the teams behind them are serious, they're trying to build real ecosystems, then it's really worth it.
Yeah, so and what do you believe is the underlying message or cultural significance of meme coins?
Well, I think, while they may have started as a joke, I mean, even now just going on Twitter, you continue to see new kind of jokey parody coins. It's funny, but I think they have, jokes aside, they have managed to impressively quite gain significant traction and even value. And maybe that does reflect this kind of broader social trend towards this internet-driven phenomena and DeFi in general. Because meme coins you have to imagine that they are very deeply rooted in internet culture. I think they leverage a lot of viral trends and memes and social media to spread rapidly. And I think it also reflects the influence of online communities, which can really shape our culture and trends. Yeah, I think overall they do serve as a reflection of our internet culture nowadays, and also shows like how trending it is, like all the stuff to do with finance, technology, and community all kind of overlapping and coming together. But I would say ultimately their power lies in their ability to really engage and mobilize online communities and spark conversations about the future of money, which is all quite important. So jokes aside, I think they are quite significant.
Yeah, and looking ahead, what do you think the future holds for meme coins?
Well, I would say, first of all, market consolidation. So the meme coin market is currently quite saturated, as you may have seen. Now there's quite a lot of competition for attention and investment, but over time some consolidation may occur, and ultimately maybe only a few of the meme coins will survive and thrive. And also I think as our cryptocurrency market matures, I think that the more that governments and regulatory bodies start to impose stricter regulations to protect investors, I think this could really severely impact their popularity and even utility. So I think if there are, stricter regulatory measures, it could really restrict their use or trading. So I don't know. If I had to sum it up, I would say I'm not quite convinced about their future in general.
That's fascinating. And besides meme coins, what particular trend or development are you eagerly anticipating to see this year and beyond?
Yeah, so I have spoken to a lot of interesting people since the start of the year, from people who are building wallets to DEXs across the board. And a lot of what I've heard is that people are really quite interested in crypto payments, which is also quite relevant for WireX. But I have heard that, crypto payments in 2024 will continue to be quite the trend. And I think the reason for that is because we've seen that cryptocurrencies have become more widely accepted. The gateways really address merchant concerns, which also contribute to their popularity, because I would say it's quite important for businesses to use cryptocurrency as a payment method, because there are the issues of chargebacks that merchants face. And overall, we've seen companies like Microsoft, Starbucks, Subway, they're actively embracing these cryptocurrency transactions. And we do see a bigger consumer demand in payment preferences in general. So I think that both businesses and customers continue to show a big interest in crypto payments. And honestly, that's the thing that I'm most excited about.
That's really interesting. Before we wrap things up, what tips would you give someone who wants to start a career in crypto?
I would say the first good thing you can do is to take the time to study and to read more, because I would say it's not an easy industry to get into. There's a lot to learn, but luckily there are so many resources, from videos to articles, maybe even like online courses. And of course, the best way to learn is by downloading apps, like opening a wallet for yourself, joining communities and getting involved, because I think that is obviously like the most critical first step that you can take. And the next thing I would suggest is to attend your local meetups. Like here in Zurich, we have Crypto Mondays, where you can go and just like learn new topics, network, and make new friends. So I think all of those activities are quite important.
Oh, thank you so much for that. Well, Kay, thank you for being part of our podcast as a guest. Your thoughts and ideas have brought a whole new perspective to our discussion, and we're thankful to have you with us today.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Great. And to all our listeners, I hope you've enjoyed this conversation. Don't forget to express your support by liking, subscribing, and sharing this episode. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, stay well.